Week 3 has arrived. Damn. College football is flying by. We are literally in week 3. I said this in a previous video. You're going to look up and we're going to be, at the end of the season, we're going to be in week 10 before you realize it. It's crazy when you love something, how quick it just flies by. You know, when you're having fun doing something, it just flies by. So college football is like that. It's fun. Everybody loves it, and here it is flying by. That's why I stated, I'm one of those weirdos. I watch, Tuesday, Wednesday MAC action. I'm tuning in watching Kent State versus Miami of Ohio, Bowling Green versus Buffalo. I'm one of those guys, because I'm trying to absorb as much college football as possible. But anyway, getting into week 3. Started off last night, Wake Forest versus North Carolina State. As expected, North Carolina State took the W. I expected Wake Forest to lose. They haven't played really good considering the first game of the season against Kennesaw State, winning 9-10. They didn't play good, so it was to be expected that North Carolina State wins to win that game, and they came out and handled it. Today, Friday, September 12th, got a couple games on tonight. Indiana State, Indiana, Colorado, Houston, Arizona, and Kansas State University. Just to name a few, New Mexico versus UNLV. New Mexico versus UCLA. First off, Colorado versus Houston. Gonna be a tough game for Deion and his crew. I think I looked at the injury report. They got about 19 guys injured. Amarion Miller, Dylan Hayden are questionable. Teion Parker, the starting cornerback, he is out officially. So along with the other guys, you got guys that are out. So this is going to be kind of a difficult game. I think Houston is favored by 5.5 points in this game. So that's going to be kind of difficult right there. It's going to be hard for Colorado. I feel like if a lot of these guys aren't able to go, it's going to be hard for them to get the win, especially traveling to Houston. I think it's going to be kind of hard, but if anybody could do it, Deion is the motivator of all motivators. And so it would be interesting to see if they can get the W tonight. I'm pretty sure Ryan Staub is starting. He'll be the starting quarterback. I'm pretty sure, depending on how things go, we'll see Julian Lewis. We'll also see Keaton Slaughter. We'll see all 3 quarterbacks, perhaps, depending on how the game goes. If Ryan's playing great, I doubt we'll see him. If it's a tight game and, the defense is struggling, talking about Colorado's defense, I could see, if Ryan's performing well, playing well, making great throws, I could see him staying in all game. But I'm pretty sure Ryan will get the majority of the snap count tonight. Houston, on the other hand, they've been looking good. They look good. They're 2-0 right now. You look at the competition, Rice, Stephen F. Austin haven't really played anybody, but they look good. They're the top 2 guys on their team right now. Connor Wigman, the transfer from Texas A&M quarterback, and then Dean Connors, the transfer from Rice. So they got, Connor Wigman came from Texas A&M. The 2 transfer guys, they look pretty good. Dynamic pair, quarterback and running back. They look pretty good. Willie Fritz, he's been kind of quiet down there in Houston. We'll see if this is a game that they can go 3-0. It will be their first in-conference game, just like it will be Colorado's first in-conference game. We'll see how they fray. Connor and Dean Connors in the backfield together. Connor Wigman isn't afraid to run. I'll say that. He isn't afraid to run. He will get out if he has to. He does have the legs to get out. So that'll be something interesting to watch. Especially with Colorado, all the injuries they have on that side of the ball. It'll be interesting to see how they adjust. This is going to be a game where the depth gets tested. We're going to see, how's your second string, how's your third string look, a lot of guys that usually don't play are going to play. So we'll see how their depth is tested. This is going to be a good game for them. A lot of conference games kick off this week. A lot of in-conference games kick off this week. A lot of teams will be tested. A lot of teams will be battle tested for the first time. We'll get to some of those teams here in a minute. Kansas State versus Arizona. One of those teams that we talked about that haven't been battle tested is Arizona. You look at their record; they're 2-0. You look at who they played: Hawaii and Weber State. They beat both of those teams by over 40 points. They're averaging almost 283 yards and 166 yards on the ground, 283 yards through the air. Kansas State hasn't looked good this year. The only thing I think that Kansas State has going for them in this game is they've been battle tested. They have played an extra game over Arizona. They had the Iowa State game, which was a conference game in week 0, which they dropped. They came back, struggled against a North Dakota team, an FCS opponent, and then turned around and dropped to an Army team who lost to an FCS opponent in Tarleton State. So Kansas State has been tested. They haven't responded well to those tests. So the only advantage that Kansas State has against Arizona is that they've been tested already. Arizona hasn't been tested yet. So we'll see if that plays a factor tonight in that game. Can Kansas State win this game? They can. Avery Johnson has to play lights out. He's gonna have to play lights out. That defense, that front seven is gonna have to play well. Noah Fetty, he's a good quarterback. Is he a great quarterback? Not yet. He can be a great quarterback, but he's a good quarterback. Brett Brianna, their head coach at Arizona, he's been doing a semi-good job over there at Arizona. He has them trending upward. So this is going to be a good game for them tonight. Like I said, the thing about it is Kansas State they're 0-1 right now in conference play. So they dropped this game. Now you drop the 0-2 in conference play. That puts you behind the 8 ball even more. So it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back. After losing to Army last week, and how does Avery Johnson respond? How does that offense respond? How does that front seven for Kansas State respond? It'll be interesting to see. Got the backyard brawl, Pitt versus West Virginia. West Virginia's not looking too good this year. That defense looks just like it did last year. You lost your starting running back, or you lost a starting receiver. They're both out for the year. Jaheim White suffered an injury. I think it was a knee injury against Ohio. He's out for the year. So one of your best playmakers is done. Somebody's got to step up now. The thing I can say about West Virginia is you did bring in a lot of transfers. And you look at Colorado, Deion's first year, they brought in a lot of transfers. They finished 4-8. Those transfers had to build chemistry together. Is this what we're seeing with Rich Rod in West Virginia? Those transfer, all of these new faces and new names, they have to gel together. And so in your first year, you're going to struggle, but you hope that you can retain a lot of those guys. And then next year, you can build that chemistry. You look at Deion's squad, they went 4-8 his first year. Come back to next year, they went 9-3. Is that what we're seeing with West Virginia? You got a lot of transfer guys in. They don't really know each other. They're trying to gel together. And now that, of course, you're playing you go against yourself all camp, but now you're going against an opponent, a different color jersey. Things are different now. And, they haven't gelled together. That defense doesn't look good. It looks just like it did last year. It looks like a terrible defense. So right now, Pitt is favored to win this game. Pitt's look good this year. So West Virginia could shock everybody and win this game. But right now, this looks like Pitt's game to lose. A big game, Texas A&M versus Notre Dame. That's an intriguing game. Notre Dame cannot afford to lose this game. Marcus Freeman had his press conference when they took a loss to Miami, and now they're going to come back. They had a week off to try to get things together, figure some things out. He said in his press conference, he kind of hinted at they're going to let CJ Carr loose some more. They're going to let him sling the ball more. You go back and look at the film for the Miami game. He looked good for a freshman. He looked good. I think they're going to give him more range. What's going to help CJ Carr be a better quarterback this time around? You got Love has got to eat. He's got to play better. He didn't do too much. He has to play better. I feel like against Miami he was limited, Price looked a little bit better than his, but Love has to eat. He has to do better. He has to have a good game. I feel like he didn't, like I said, he didn't get much done against Miami, and so he has to come back and play better. I think coming to the season, Jeremiah Love was one of those. He's considered a #1 back in this year's NFL draft, but he didn't look like it week 1. Jadarian Price got most of the touches. They're a good 1-2 combo, but I think Jeremiah Love is more so the premier back of this offense, And if you want CJ Carr to be successful, then Jeremiah Love has to be successful. He's got to have a strong game. That defense has to play good. Marcel Reeves, he leads Texas A&M in passing and rushing. 509 passing yards, 105 rushing yards. He's first on the team in both. He's going to run the ball if he feels threatened. That D-line has to get after him. They have to rush under control. They have to be in their gaps because he will run, but at the same time, he can throw it. He can air it out. Bryce Young, not talking about Carolina Panthers Bryce Young. Talking about Texas, talking about Notre Dame's Bryce Young, the freshman Bryce Young that had a good freshman season. He was coming into this sophomore season with high expectations. He hasn't lived up to those expectations as a sophomore. He has to play better. He has to show up this game. I need him to have at least 2.5, if possible, 3 sacks. He needs to be that disruptive defensive end that people like me and his coach Marcus Freeman know he can be. He has to show up this game. He has to be one of the guys that's wreaking havoc in the backfield. I feel like if Bryce Young can turn into that guy we can be, that guy we know he can be, then that would help out Notre Dame defense a lot. Same thing with South Carolina and Dylan Stewart. Dylan Stewart kind of makes that defense go. He was a freshman All-American, and now this year, his sophomore campaign, he's looking really good. He's trajectorying toward, if he keeps this up and then go into next season, he's going to be on a lot of people's radar as a first-round pick, as a top 10 pick. Because we all know defensive ends are a premier position. So I need Bryce Young to show up tomorrow against Marcel Reeves and that Texas A&M offense. Next game we got on the docket, Clemson, Georgia Tech. I touched on this game in my Clemson video about Dabo talking about how a lot of the team let the off-season talk get to their head, the rat poison as we call it. They got to do better. They're 108th right now in third down conversion. They're only converting third downs 32% of the time. That's not good when you're talking about a team that was just in the playoffs last year. That's not good. You're only converting third downs 32% of the time. On the other hand, Georgia Tech defense, it ranks 44th in the FBS in terms of stopping on third down conversion. They've only allowed 29% conversions on third down. The Georgia Tech defense is nothing to joke about. Clemson could lose this game. This is the game Clemson can try. If Clemson lose this game, it's going to hurt their playoff odds. That's just the point blank period. Cade Klubnik has to play damn near perfect in order for them to win this game. That offense has to play damn near perfect for them to win this game. That defense has to be on its P's and Q's. You got Hayden King back there. You got Hayden King. I forgot the running back name escapes me at the moment. But you got they have a dynamic running duo back there. You can't let him get started. Hayden King's gonna touch the ball. He's gonna run the ball a lot. That's just how the offense is set up. He's gonna run the ball a lot. Jamal Haynes is starting running back. So you got Hayden King and Jamal Haynes. He's gonna touch the ball. Hayden King is gonna run the ball. You got to be able to read, like I said in the earlier video, you got to be able to stop the QB power, the QB zone, the QB counter. You got to be able to stop those. And then, of course, you got to be able to stop Jamal Haynes, their starting running back. Hey, you got 2 potential top 15 picks on your D-line. They got to show up, You got one on the edge and one at D tackle. 2 of the most premier positions on defense. You got cornerback also, but you got a alleged star at defensive end and another alleged star at D tackle. They gotta show up. They gotta Woods has to make it easy. He has to keep the linebacker clean so they can make plays. And then when his plays come to him, he has to make those plays. And then Parker, he has to make his plays when they come to him. And then when it's third and long, when it's passing down, Parker has to show everybody that elite pass rushing trait that people are talking about. He has to show that to everyone. So Clemson has to come and play. Georgia Tech, they're 2-0. If they beat Clemson, it's an upset. Clemson's currently ranked number 12. If Georgia Tech beats Clemson, that will throw them into the top 25 after that. Next game, OU plays Temple, kind of a get right game. You play Michigan, you beat Michigan. You playing Temple now, a lower competition. My biggest thing for this game, don't get caught looking ahead. Oklahoma has Auburn next week. Auburn's 2-0. Auburn plays South Alabama this week before they play Oklahoma. Oklahoma, don't get caught looking ahead. I know Brent Venables is probably preaching that. Don't overlook an opponent. Temple, they played UMass, Howard. They're ranked 18th in overall offense. Yeah, the reason why I said the UMass and Howard, the two teams they played, you have to take that into account when you're looking at overall offensive rankings, because who have they played really. And so just don't get caught looking ahead, That's OU, you get caught looking ahead, you slip up, you look up in the fourth quarter, it's a 3-point game or it's tied going into the fourth quarter, late fourth quarter, and Temple has a chance to get the upset. Last thing you want to do is get upset by a school that you should beat. You don't want to be on that side of the fence. Next big game, well not big game, but the next crucial game I feel like is Alabama versus Wisconsin. Pretty sure Billy Edward Jr. is not going to play. He is traveling to Tuscaloosa. He's going to go through warm-ups, but I'm pretty sure he's not going to play, which means it's going to be Danny O'Neal starting. He's been getting all the reps all week. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be starting. Luke Fickell, I'm pretty sure he's going to have to pull out the whole bag, Whatever's in his bag of offensive play calls, he's going to have to pull it out. On the Bama side of things, which Bama team are we going to see? Are we going to see Florida State Bama? Or are we going to see Louisiana Monroe Bama? They look good against inferior competition. They played against competition on the same level as them. They got beat. You go back and look at the stats. Florida State ran the ball on them. They wore them down. Which Bama team are we going to see? This is a crucial game for Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer loses this game. I know it's just year 2 in his coaching stint at Bama, but that seat is going to start to get a little hot if you lose against Wisconsin team. But this Wisconsin team, they're out for revenge. Like I said, Bama came up there last year and they beat them in their home. So now Wisconsin's looking to repay that favor and come down here to Tuscaloosa and beat them. So we'll see. Ryan Williams will be playing this game. He has been cleared of the concussion protocol, so he will be back. So Ty Simpson gets a weapon back. But the biggest question is, which Bama team are we going to see? After that, Central Michigan versus Michigan. Biggest thing from this game, Sharon Moore will not be coaching. It will be Biff Pokey. He will be the head coach for this game and next game. You guys know Pokey. He was with Michigan for a while. He went to Charlotte. He was fired halfway through the season. He was like 6-16. He got fired halfway through the season, and now he got brought back to Michigan. So now he'll be serving as the head coach for this game and the Nebraska game. They should win this game. This is the game I feel like Bryce Underwood needs to learn to tune up on some things, try to build some connection with his receivers. His receivers really need to work on some things. His receivers need to work on breaking out of their routes, things of that nature, and just the small detail things. This is a game where you work on those things, against an opponent like Central Michigan. Next week, you got Nebraska. That's going to be an even tougher task right there. That's a game Nebraska could win. We'll talk about that game more next week during the week. But that's going to be an interesting game right there, especially because that'll be Sharon Moore's second suspension game right there. So this week against Central Michigan, I expect them to take care of business. The big game, another big game, Georgia versus Tennessee. Biggest thing, Tennessee is missing their starting 2 cornerbacks. Jeremiah McCoy and Ricky Gibson both are out. So now they're rolling with Colton Hood, who's a transfer from college. He played at Colorado and Auburn. You got him, and you got true freshman Todd Redmond. Knowing Kirby Smart, they're gonna go after the true freshman most likely. You got Zachariah Branch that transferred from USC, and then you also got Kobe Young. They're gonna look to eat. Gunnar Stockton looks good, but another like I said earlier in the video, teams that are getting tested finally. Georgia one of those teams. Georgia played Marshall and Austin Paya, however you say their name. They played two inferior opponents and handled those opponents well. Now you're about to play somebody on your own skill level. How do you react? I'm pretty sure the offensive coordinator for Georgia is going to take advantage of Tennessee, both of their starting cornerbacks being out. He's going to take advantage of that. Georgia's secondary is kind of iffy. And Joey Aguilar, this being his first SEC test, I'm expecting him to want to air it out. I'm expecting the Tennessee to air it out. Excuse me. I'm expecting them to air it out. I don't expect nothing less. It's gonna be a good game. Georgia could pull away, but the way Tennessee look, like I said, Tennessee hasn't really been. They played Syracuse, who's supposed to be good, but they've been kind of struggling. They blowed out Syracuse, then they turn around and played FCS opponent. So this is gonna be a really good test for Tennessee, but it's gonna be a first true test for University of Georgia. So it's gonna be a good game. Next, the Unicorn, South Florida versus Miami. South Florida, they got some magic going on down there. Will that magic run out against Miami? We'll have to see. It's not like South Florida's blowing people out. It's not like Byron Brown is playing lights out. Byron Brown is doing just enough to win games, and that defense is playing really, really good. Miami defense led by Ruben Bain. If they can shut down Brown, then Miami wins this game. Carson Beck in that offense, they can't get stuttered. If they get stuttered and it becomes like it was last week against Florida, where it's a close game towards the end. Once you get towards the end, now South Florida's on the sideline looking at you like, hey, we got a chance. It's a 3-point game, or if it's a tied ball game in the fourth quarter, hey, we got a chance. They look good. If they lose this game, what does that mean for their playoff odds? You got to win over Florida. We'll see how good Florida is. They have LSU this week, but one loss, and then if they run the table in their conference, they could be that Group of 5 team representing in the playoffs. So we'll just have to see. But South Florida has a legit chance. We'll have to see if that magic run, if the magic continues tonight, or is the magic gonna run out tonight. Arkansas versus Ole Miss. Arkansas defensive coordinator Travis Williams, him and Bobby Petrino, they're gonna have to play complementary with each other. Austin Simmons, I know he rolled his ankle I think he rolled his ankle or hurt his ankle last week against Kentucky. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be able to play. Probably might be spatted up. I'm pretty sure he's been rehabbing it hard, but he's gonna probably have some tape on that ankle and some spat on his cleats. But even before the ankle injury, the dude is a turnover machine so far. Like I said in the recap video, week 2, 2 interceptions against Georgia State. He had 2 interceptions against Georgia State and 2 interceptions against Kentucky. The dude has to learn to, either throw the ball away and not put the ball in harm's way. If Arkansas defense and defense coordinator Travis Williams can dial up some pressures or disguise his schemes and get turnovers, and then Bobby Petrino in turn can get the offense to take those turnovers and convert them into points. Not 3 points. You need touchdowns. You're not gonna beat Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss with field goals. You need touchdowns. So if Bobby Petrino gets extra possessions from that Arkansas defense, he has to go put points on the board, not just 3 points, but touchdowns. That's the only way I see Arkansas winning this game. If Austin Simmons is limping and he's hurt, then Travis Williams needs to be dialing up pressure, going after him. Trying to put hits on him. That's the only way I can see them getting away with this. Finally, last 2 games I want to talk about, LSU versus Florida. I talked about it last week. LSU didn't show too much against Louisiana Tech. They didn't want to put too much on film. I feel like for Florida, they did enough of that against Clemson. Against Louisiana Tech, LSU just wanted to get the win and get out of there. Florida, they got to redeem themselves. Billy Napier is officially coaching for his job. If he drops this game, it's a hot chance Billy Napier is fired by week 6. It'll be hard for me to see him finishing the season if he loses this game, because you look at that Florida schedule after this, it does not get easy. He's coaching for his job, I feel like, because like I said, you lose a game against South Florida like that, and then now you play LSU. You're traveling to Death Valley after LSU. You get an in-conference, not an in-conference, but in-state opponent against Miami. Then you get Texas A&M. It doesn't get no easier than that. So Billy Napier is coaching for his job. This could be the year he gets fired. He could be fired by week 7 or week 8. You know, he could be fired. He could be fired before the end of the season. You know, depending on, you know, if they lose this LSU game, how bad they lose, and then going forward, they continue to lose. And, you know, he's putting all his hopes on DJ Lagway. DJ Lagway has to show up for him, you know. They have to make sure they put the players in position to make plays. I said it in my Arizona State, Mississippi State, when Mississippi State upset Arizona State. It's up to the coaches. It's the coach's responsibility to put players in position to make plays, you know, because Arizona State's defensive coordinator did not put them in a position to make plays. So we'll see. But Billy Napier is officially coaching for his job, I feel like. Finally, Vanderbilt versus South Carolina. This is going to be a gritty game, I feel like. You know, Diego Pave versus Lenore Sellers, two good quarterbacks. Diego, you know, the guy he's a real scrappy quarterback. But that Vanderbilt team has looked pretty good. So this is going to be a good game. We'll see how much of an impact Dylan Stewart has on this game. He's been solid so far. I'm expecting him to have another good game this week against Vanderbilt. I'm expecting South Carolina to get the win, but Vanderbilt is going to make it a close fight. This is like I said before in a past video. This is not our granddad's Vanderbilt. This is not a Vanderbilt team that's going to 1-11. This Vanderbilt has come to play. They're gonna punch you in the mouth, and so I'm expecting this to be a good game. Week 3 is rolling. I'll be back to discuss, give my reaction to the games as they continue to unfold. I'll be back tonight after the Colorado-Houston game to talk about it, and I'll just check in with you guys later.